biggest mistake I ever made in security. Go.
Saying I told you so. There's nothing wrong with mistakes as long as it doesn't have a material impact on the business. I love the saying, there's no losses, there's only lessons. But when I think back across my career and I think about the mistakes that haunt me at night, it's the times that I have bent to the pressure of business and I went against my better judgment and I put myself in a position of, you can see around corners and you know what's going to happen. And when that does and you say, I told you so, it's never a good feeling because it's not our jobs to say, I told you so. It's our jobs to manage risk and never have that happen.
It's time to begin the CISO Series podcast. Recorded in front of a live audience in San Francisco.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the CISO Series podcast. I am David Spark. I am the producer of the CISO Series. And look, this guy to my left, you may know him. It is the CISO for Rivian and my co-host since day one, Mike Johnson. Let's hear it for him.
Hi, everyone. What an amazing audience.
We have a huge crowd here today.
Great.
This is great. Now, by the way, we are at B-Sides San Francisco 2026. Let's hear it for B-Sides. And this is our fourth time doing a live show here.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Not for you personally, because I know you missed one.
This is my third.
Number three.
Yeah,
but we've done 4 live shows
one.
here. Thrilled to be back. This is pretty spectacular. For those of you listening, we are in a gorgeous movie theater with our giant logo and all our sponsors' logos, which I do want to mention right now. Our 3 sponsors, and I want to hear a huge round of applause for them. Our sponsors, Nudge Security, Quiller AI, and Zenity. Let's hear it for all 3 of them. We are going to hear a lot more about them in just a minute. Now, I want to bring our guest in, who is our far left. We had her on once before. So thrilled with how well she did before I said, you got to come join us live for our show at B-Sides. Big round of applause for the CISO of Convera, Sarah Madden. Let's hear it for Sarah.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So here's my question to everybody, and this is my challenge to the audience. Now, if you listen to the show regularly, you know I often talk about this thing where I love, and I don't get to see it often, and I'm hoping you will, where people are in an event or trying to get into a party, and there's going to be a lot of events and parties this week during RSA.
One or two.
And they're trying to get in, and the line that is used, or a variation thereof, is, do you know who I am? I so want to witness this. I want to witness it badly, and I want to throw this out to you. So if anyone witnesses it, by the way, bonus if you get it on video and can send it to me as well. But let me ask both of you, have you actually witnessed someone pull this off? Try the, do you know who I am? Do you know how my influence? Like, why am I not in this event? Sarah, Mike?
Many times in my life.
Yes.
But I don't have trouble getting into parties.
Hey. Oh, there you go.
Well, I pull that card all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you drop? The CISO series? Do you drop Rivian? What is it you drop?
Well, I drop that I know David.
And does that not get you kicked out?
It usually does, yeah.
It does get you kicked.
By the way, it's never been successful.
By the way, it doesn't count if they say it because they've had a concussion. Do you know who I am? Or ask, what year is it? Or who's president?
Because I don't know who I am, yes.
You're a very important person.
There you go.
I believe I am.
Is this the best use of my money?
Quote, when you only see 5% of the options, you can't make the best choice. You can only make the best choice from what you saw, end quote. Here's a pattern, noted Richard Stenen of IT Harvest. Evaluate 3 or 4 vendors, pick one with the best demo, sign a 3-year contract. Now, 18 months later, rip it out because the vendor got acquired and product development stopped, or a better solution emerged, or the market leader turned out to be the marketing leader. Now, the implementation time is wasted, and don't forget the squandered political capital spent justifying the original decision. Due diligence isn't just about evaluating vendors, but knowing which vendors to evaluate in the first place. So, Mike, I'm going to start with you. What does your vendor selection process look like to avoid this trap? And second, how do you balance the fear, if you have it, of making the wrong choice against the need to make a decision and just move forward?
Well, the first step is don't sign a 3-year deal the first time that you're working with a vendor.
Period.
Full stop.
And let me ask you, have you maybe in your earlier days, ever signed a 3-year deal at the beginning?
Oh, I think everybody makes that mistake.
Okay.
Like at some point you go, this was really bad. And then you spend the rest of your career thinking, I'm never going to do that again. So that's step one.
And by the way, what you just said, that's got to be the life of a CISO. And I'm never going to do that again.
Daily. Like, that was bad. Let's not do that again.
All right.
But the reality is this really is where our networks come in handy. Like, if I'm looking for a solution to a problem I have, the first thing I do is I turn to my peer CISOs. Like, how are you solving this problem? And that helps build the shortlist because you then have context. You're not just going to Google and saying, hey, I need to solve this, or worse, going to Gartner and saying, hey, I need to solve this. It really comes down to talking to your peers. And then it's like, construct your list of questions. What are your requirements? Send that out to all of your shortlist, get those answers back, pick a couple that make great answers. Then you do your proof of concept. And that makes you understand whether or not it works in your environment. And then you pick one from there. And at the end of the day, you're still going to make bad decisions where things are going to happen. One of mine is we worked with a very early vendor. They were great. We had a 1-year deal because we signed 1-year deals first. And then we signed a 3-year deal and they got acquired. And product development stopped.
Just like I said.
So it can still happen. But at the end of the day,
you can't predict the future.
At the end of the day, we felt confident in the decision. We felt that we had all of the information that we could possibly get. And sometimes you just have to recognize that you're going to make some bad decisions here and there.
All right. I know, Sarah, you've had struggles with some vendors that have been implemented. What do you do when things are going awry and you're trying to figure out how to get out of this?
That's a great question. I'm in a situation where we're stuck in multi-year licenses with vendors.
Deal?
Yeah.
Were these 3-year deals you made or somebody else made?
They were 3-year deals. So I got to build a greenfield security program at the company that I'm at now, and 4
so
years
all the
into
blame
it.
goes
And so,
on you?
well, we did 3 years initially because we didn't have time to displace vendors. Like we still had to hire and deploy all the controls, and you're not going to mess with that in the middle of 1 or 2 year license. And so came up for renewal last year with most of our 3-year vendors, and I put them in either 1 or 2 year licenses intentionally for that reason. But you run into a situation where you have to continually air your grievances with your vendors to force them to do the right things, and you leverage the stick of, I won't renew, right? We're in challenging times where the majority of the tool sets that we have are SaaS products, and they're going up and down. They're unavailable a lot. I think product development has taken a shift where we used to do N-1 because you don't trust the latest release. And we've got tons of vendors now that are saying, don't trust until I have like a preferred release. And that could be months, if not quarters, if not 9 months out. So I've been pressing a lot of vendors lately of just sticking to fundamentals of software development and being confident about the software that you ship to us. And if you get into a situation with your vendors where they're shipping product that isn't stable, isn't good, is causing issues, I'm all over them all the time now because I think we're taking a shift into low quality releases. And this is across most of the vendors we have in our tool set right now. It's happening across the board. So I'm pushing on that a lot as a CISO because I don't want that to be like a new normal. We can't get ourselves into a situation where we used to be at N-1 and we thought that was okay. And then we're dragging further beyond that. Like that's not a good position for us to be in, right? The other thing I'll say in terms of finding good tool sets is it's also the peer. I agree with everything that you said, but some of the best tool sets we have, I've learned about them from new engineers that are entry-level people that got to test out cool tools in their prior job, and they're bringing in really cool new tool sets. And it's as much about finding the right tool as it is making sure that you have the skill sets on your team to manage that. Oftentimes we pick tools because the engineers we have on our team have expertise in being able to manage that product, because you're never going to get a perfect product, right? There's always going to be issues. But if you don't have the talent to manage it, you could have the greatest tool set you could buy and it's not going to work because you don't have the right engineering to manage it. So it's about people too. It's about their skill sets.
Is AI going to help us or hurt us?
Quote, Gen AI is deceptively complex. It gives you the false impression it's simple to use and delivers excellent quality, all good or better than your own work. This is the trap. Now, Howard Holton of GigaHome recently shared a striking Gartner stat. 74% of organizations are seeing AI productivity gains, but only 11% see clear ROI, we've convinced ourselves AI output is, quote, good enough right out of the box. But the reality is that AI presents information with such confidence that we believe it. You know, the polished formatting, authoritative tone, and coherent structure. Holton argues that if you accept lowest common denominator AI output without investing time to develop content about what defines, quote, good, you're telling your employer you're as replaceable as a public AI model. Sarah, I'm starting with you here. How do you help your teams recognize when they're falling into AI's confidence trap?
We don't trust it, and we use AI every day.
Hold it. You don't trust it, but you use it every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you?
I mean, you question your output every time, right?
So you question it.
Yes.
And so how do you? And does your team know to do that?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
so we use AI every day, especially in SecOps. Like, it's so efficient for us to run a particular IDE tool in a very big cloud, fork some code, throw it in there, have it analyze it. We get results back in 5 minutes that's contextualized, and it's actually super helpful. And then that usually starts like a little bit of a panic and a spin cycle, and we like, oh my God, look at these results. And then we don't trust it initially. We go and we look at it, and you end up finding that there's pieces of it that's super helpful, and there's areas that you could tweak, and it's usually not as bad as what the tool says because it likes to be flashy and dramatic, right? So you just don't trust it, and you look at the results. And to me, it's not too much different than our regular vulnerability testing that we do with the various different tools we have or the pen testers that we use. There's false positives in almost everything we work on. So just simply don't trust it. And then when it comes to just use cases that we're building out, the human in the loop control is just super important until we get more confident with the accuracy of the AI output.
All right. Mike, same philosophy with your team?
Yeah, and I think that really is the new normal. 6 months ago, it was, hey, these things are really confident. I'm just going to blindly believe them. But nowadays, everybody understands that you need to double check. And that is the evolution that we've seen. This airs in May. I imagine things have even changed by then. And so we will continue to have that moving forward, and we will learn along the way. And Sarah mentioned false positives is something that we actually work with a lot in security. That is not new for us. That is normal. And we should make sure that we're reminding our teams, like, yeah, you need to check these things work. And you're seeing this in the industry where AWS had an outage recently that was AI-induced, however you want to call it. And they're making sure that they have senior engineers checking AI-generated code going forward. And these are things that we're going to continue to learn. And yeah, nobody trusts these, but that's okay.
Who's our sponsor this week?
You know, AI has spread to every corner of your tech stack. We were just talking about it, which is great for innovation, yes, but not so great for security and governance. And that is where one of our wonderful sponsors, Nudge Security, comes in. Nudge discovers shadow AI across your organization. Here's what's good. Also including chatbots, agents, MCP server connections, AI in the supply chain of other SaaS tools, and even more. And Nudge gives you workflows and automation to scale AI governance without slowing down productivity. The best part? You will have a full inventory of AI assets on day one of your free trial. Take advantage of this, by the way. Even those introduced before you started using Nudge. By the way, they will scan your environment and tell you, well, how SaaS loose it is, which it is. So no time machine is required here. Gain visibility and control of shadow AI risks. Get started by going to their website, nudgesecurity.com/shadow AI. And it is spelled just the way it sounds. nudgesecurity.com/shadow AI.
It's time to play What's Worse?
All right, everybody. For those of you, most of you are familiar with the What's Worse game. If you've heard our show before, our fans, they send in great scenarios of just horrible things that happen, all usually fictional. Every now and then we get a real world scenario. And those are actually kind of fun because it was like a kind of a Sophie's Choice decision that they had to make. And we find out the real story and we see if the panel had actually matched that. So if you've got those, please send them in. We always like to hear great What's Worse scenarios, fictional or real. All right, this comes in from Craig George of GuidePoint Security. Mike will answer first. Then Sarah, you can agree or disagree, and then we're throwing it to the audience to find out what your answer is. So here we go. Scenario number 1. For years, you've been running a security program held together by a few very exhausted security heroes. You know it will collapse if 2 people leave, all right? Your security department is gone if 2 people go. That's scenario number 1. Second scenario, for years, you've had unmanaged service accounts, API tokens, and non-human identities that no one fully owns, kind of partially. But in both cases here, the 2 scenarios, you're stunned that nothing has exploded because they're both powder kegs, just ready to explode. Mike, which one is worse?
Yeah, so in the first scenario, what's interesting is these aren't opposite sides of the same coin, which is what we usually get.
Right.
Is like this or that.
Is like, it's you got all of this and none of that,
Yeah.
or all of that and none of this.
Yeah, so you've got a fragile team or a fragile environment. Maybe that's the
a
breakdown.
poorly managed environment in general.
Sure. Realistically, and I'm not trying to change the scenario
By the way, this
here,
is a rule of what's worse. You can't change it.
but the second one, those are technical problems. Like those are far more solvable than people problems.
But they're not going to get solved. That's the thing. It stays like this.
Right. And like the reality is, if you have some people who really know the environment, and if they leave, everything comes crashing down, you're really going to be in bad shape. And that is where you're going to end up with a big issue versus it's kind of like the known knowns versus the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns.
Well, but the thing is, first scenario, your security program's running reasonably well, it sounds like. Second scenario, it's kind of crappy to start with.
Well, the first scenario is something is about to happen. The second one is something has
happened, or something is
both
very visibly weak.
Yeah, but both of them are something will happen. It's a matter of
Time.
It's a matter of time, and then one is the issue. And frankly, I think the problem that you've built a team around 2 people, that actually is the worst
Well,
scenario.
no, it isn't just 2. There's a bunch, but if 2 go,
But you've essentially built it such that.
if 2 go, it's going to be.
So I think first scenario is the worst. Is the worst one.
First is the worst. All right, we're throwing this to you, Sarah. What do you think?
I agree with you. The reason you've got unmanaged service accounts is because you only have 3 people.
Well, who knows?
So if you lose
possible.
any of those, you're probably...
Well, it's a difference. In the second one, it may not be that you have exhausted heroes in the second scenario. It's just a completely different scenario.
if you lose your resources, then you can't fix the technical problems, which is the principle that I agree with. I think the worst scenario is losing your good people when you already have a small team, for sure. I mean, none of us have been in perfect environments where we don't have the second scenario. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
That's true.
But if you lose your people, you can't fix it.
All right. You're saying so first is worse because it'll be unfixable. All right, we're going to throw this to the audience. By applause, how many people think that the first scenario, that if you lose 2 people, you're screwed, that is the worst scenario? Oh, it's looking like a lot of people here.
It's a lot of people
here. All right. Second scenario where it's kind of weak, but if 2 people go, you're still running at the same speed. How many people think that's the worst scenario? All right. A few brave souls. I appreciate that.
Dissension.
What is Dave's mom talking about?
All right, we've played this game here before. It's a hit. My mom has become a hit with this crowd.
Your mom is awesome.
My mom is awesome. I've known her all my life. So here's how this game works. I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but my elderly mother is not a cybersecurity expert. But when her son comes up with a stupid game idea, she plays along, and she plays along with this game. So my mother is going to define some terms in cybersecurity. Everyone in this room knows what these terms are. My mother does not, or she gets varying degrees of correct and wrong, and you'll see in general. So you have to kind of use reverse logic. If you had heard this term before, did not understand cybersecurity, how would you best explain it? I will ask the panel first to answer. If they can't get it, I will throw to you, to the audience. All right, are you ready to play? And I can play them. I can repeat them if you don't get them, because some of them are very quick. All right, here is the first one.
I think that's just carrying on in some fashion.
All right, this is very wrong, I will just say, and this is a tough one. The first one's a pretty tough one.
An audit report?
That's a good one. You want to take a stab? I'll play it again.
I think that's just carrying on in some fashion.
connectionless protocols?
No. I'm going to be honest. This is a really tough one. Anyone want to take a stab at this? Crosstalk? That's a good guess and wrong. Anyone else? Carrying on. No. Let me give you kind of a hint.
Chat protocol.
The word itself kind of sounds like carrying on. It is one word, and it kind of sounds like carrying on. AI? No, not AI.
It's a good answer, though.
I'm only going to give a couple. I'm going to give a couple more guesses, and we're going to go to the next one. I'll explain. Anyone else? I'll play one more time.
I think that's just carrying on in some fashion.
No, that would be hashing. Sounds like a little carrying on, a little hashing. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. It didn't go over as well.
Yep.
All right, we're going to play another one. Here we go.
Taking care of personnel issues.
Okay, there's a hint of being correct here. There's definitely a hint of being correct. Oh, wait, let them answer first. Hold on.
I don't know. Human resources?
No, it's a cyber term.
Oh, security awareness.
No.
Well, I give up.
Take a stab.
This is Stump the CISO. This is not what is
Taking
Dave's mom.
care of personnel issues.
And just a hint.
Account termination? It's like that's where my head's going.
That is a good one. But
Yeah.
again, it's a cyber term. It's a cyber term. Hold on. Identity? What? Hold on. It's your
Identity.
Yes, it's identity access management. Very good. Very good. Good job, everybody. All right. The audience got it, not you.
Good for the audience.
All right. We got another one. Here we go. We got two more.
You need a plan to figure out when someone is trying to invade your organization.
Incident response
Yeah,
plan.
it sounds like an incident response plan.
That, again, that's if she had the correct answer. But as I told you, these are variations of being wrong. So,
Cyber insurance?
okay, you're giving my mother way too much credit here. Let me play it again for you.
You need a plan to figure out when someone is trying to invade your organization.
Okay,
SOAR?
so there's parts of that are correct. There are parts of that correct.
Of SOAR?
No, not SOAR.
Disaster recovery plan?
Oh, God. No, hold on. Wait, I'm sorry. What would somebody say here? Cyber. Hold on. Someone say intrusion detection?
Oh.
Good job.
Well done.
Good job.
See, this is why we all need to work together.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Last one.
So we're 0 for 3.
Yeah.
we're
we-
over.
The audience
we're
is
failing.
way smarter than you
The audience
are.
is doing much better than we
Yeah,
are.
way better.
Make available the best information possible.
Okay. There is, again, a hint of something correct here.
Wow.
Nothing.
I got nothing.
Okay. This one you should be able to get. Come on, make him. You got this?
No, I'm thinking this is why you need expertise in this industry to do your job.
Well, this is why our industry is so difficult.
Yeah.
It's a hard job.
It is. All right. Did you hear that? Here, I'll play it again for you.
Make available the best information possible.
There you go. They got it.
Hey.
Good job. Once again, the audience is way smarter than you.
We suck at this game.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Who's our sponsor this week?
You've got DLP. You've got CASB. You've got alerts. But here's the question no one's asking. Can you tell if an action in your environment was performed by a human or an AI agent? Because today, agents don't just generate content, they take action. They move data, trigger workflows, and change systems without asking. And your existing tools, they'll tell you what happened after the fact. Now, that's the gap Quiller AI was built to close. Quiller AI's decision engine sits inside every interaction. Browser, endpoint, SaaS, LLM, and agent workflows, evaluating the content, context, and intent before an action completes. Not more alerts, better decisions made in real time. Now, if you're serious about securing your AI transformation, I know we're all going there, and not just monitoring it, check out Quiller AI at Quiller.ai. Let me spell that out for you. Quiller.ai. Security can't live after the decision anymore. Quiller AI makes sure it doesn't have to.
What's the best way to handle this?
How can a CISO, or really any security professional, get the most out of a security conference like B-Sides SF and RSA? So we've actually discussed this many times actually on the show, but this is an interesting take that we saw over on Reddit, because whenever we talk about it, they go, you just got to network. One Redditor on the cybersecurity subreddit advised a more strategic approach, and I love this. Ask yourself, quote, is this a person who I can seek advice from if I was in a situation? Now, the benefit of networking is to have connections who can fill in gaps that you aren't soon planning on filling. So, for example, I don't know much about AI MCP, but this guy at this booth seems to know a lot. So another commenter focuses on technical talks, community events, and hallway con. All great advice. So I'll start with you, Mike. How do you set expectations for your team when they attend conferences, and how do you measure whether the conference attendant delivered value?
I think these two examples are really the right way to think about the conference itself. Some conferences, it's around the talks, the content. B-Sides is great for that. You're getting these community-driven conversations that the attendees have the opportunity to learn from, versus the vendor-driven events. Like maybe your goal is to go speed run the vendors and understand what all is in that space. The important part is to have the plan going in. Like, what is it that you want to accomplish? Why is it that you're going to invest your time in whatever you're going to, and then lean in on that? Maybe it is hallway con. Maybe it is the networking events. And so that's really what you should focus on. So that's what I tell my team. Have the plan going in. But I also tell them, I want you to bring something back to the rest of the team. If we're paying for your airfare or your ticket or your hotels or something like that.
Oh, you only do one of the three?
Or
I would assume you pay for the hotel and
or
the
doesn't
airfare.
have to be exclusive.
Okay.
So it could be all of them.
You would think and/or is what you'd say. Go on.
And/or.
I'm just giving you crap. Go ahead.
Thank you. Never happened before.
No,
never.
This is the first mark, date, and time.
Yes, but it really does come down to there's an investment the company is making in that person. That's great. They're advancing, but we'd like to see them bring that back to the rest of the team. So have a debrief, have a document that you write up. Here's what I saw. Here's what I learned. Here are the talks that I sat through that you should go watch the recording of. Bring that back to the rest of the team, along with the plan going in of what you want to accomplish. And that's how you get the most out of these events.
Sarah, What do you do with your team?
I mean, I send my team to the technical conferences so they can sit and learn and then come back and do a brown bag. So like to your point, it's like purpose built, right? B-Sides, Black Hat, AWS conference, like those are good technical conferences that our teams go to learn stuff and then come back and share what they learned. We frankly send the people on the team that like to do conferences. There's people that don't like to do conferences, right? And so you can incentivize them with different kinds of training. And so you send the people that actually are going to get out there, go to the talks, meet people, learn things, and then come back and share it. So I think that's another important part of it too, is like send the people that are going to get the most out of it.
They didn't think that through all the way, did they?
Your incident response tabletop, your IR tabletop, is lying to you. Not because the scenario is wrong, because the incentives are. Now, this is what Joshua Copeland of Crescendo argues, that in tabletop exercises, everyone talks fast, decisions are clean, ownership is clear, and nobody protects themselves. No real incidents ever unfold. In a real breach, the first control to fail isn't a firewall, it's authority. People don't hesitate because they lack training. They hesitate because escalation is political. Detection becomes, quote, let me validate one more thing, or containment becomes, let's wait for leadership, and disclosure becomes, legal is reviewing the language. If nobody in the tabletop worries about consequences, you didn't simulate incident response. The breach won't expose your controls. It will expose who is allowed to act without permission. It's like playing poker without real money. You play the game very differently when there are actual stakes. So I'm going to ask you, Sarah, how do we actually inject stakes into tabletops to reveal those fault lines? Because That's what you want to see fault lines. If a tabletop goes without fault lines, you're like, we did something wrong.
We do tabletops quarterly, and my feedback 100% of the time is you didn't bring me in early enough. You should have brought me in here. You should have brought me in here. And it's so hard to sit there because I haven't been called yet. So I have to be quiet. So I'm just sitting there on the edge of my seat, like, right? But the reason we do tabletops on a repeated basis is because we get better and better at it every single time, right? And 2 years ago, my team was bringing me in way too late. And in some cases recently, they're bringing me in too early. And so it's just it's trial and error. It's education. It's keep repeating the tabletop exercises and you get better at it. It's that simple, I think.
All right, Mike?
Yeah, I think the key is there's no such thing as a perfect tabletop. Like simulating the actual stress is not something that you're going to be able to do, but you still learn. Like you still get better. There's still advantages to doing that. And so you keep doing them, recognizing that they're not perfect simulations. And there's still something that you can learn and keep going forward. One of the things that we've started doing this past year was we've actually brought in an outside firm to do a tabletop exercise for us. And that then does change the stakes because they have less familiarity with the environment. They aren't making assumptions in a tabletop exercise of, well, of course we would just do that. And so I think that really is one of the opportunities is continue to up-level your tabletop game and make that better, recognizing that it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, and I love that suggestion. And also just resist the urge to manage them. They don't learn if you tell them how to do it right every single time. So sit there, quiet, suck it up, let them fail and fail forward, right? Like we talked in the beginning about mistakes. Like mistakes are good. It's how people learn, right?
And let me ask you that getting to the line of playing poker without money is not playing poker. And I think if you bring in a third party, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't do tabletops, but I would envision they know how to put on a performance. You know what I mean? And so they'll, even though it's not, quote, real, they'll create sort of some false sense of urgency that will make your team act a little bit more intense. Do you see that to be the case?
Yes, I do think they are more adept at creating scenarios that still can inject some concern, can inject some urgency, again, in a way that your internal team will have a hard time simulating. And there's also the fact that, you spent money on this, and that does create some additional pressure as well to get value out of it because you could have spent that money on something else. So it really, that outside party does help raise the stakes.
I have a question for you, Sarah. You say you do it quarterly, which is fantastic. I don't think I've heard anybody do it that often. What are some of the big leaps that you see that they're making from a tabletop from like the earliest to the latest one?
So I have 3 different functional teams and we do the tabletops with everybody. And so I think usually an incident response is primarily your security engineers that are running it, but there's a lot of cross-functional knowledge that has been really valuable for like the identity management team to be a part of it, right? Like they see how to figure out things quicker and they are contributing more and more useful insights as we go through the tabletops. And so I think the cross-functional knowledge is super helpful. And then another part of my team does all of our audit and compliance and like security programmatic stuff. And so as we run through tabletop scenarios, they'll realize, oh, I could tune this policy this way to make sure that this kind of scenario doesn't happen again. And so I think the consistency of it and the growth that we've had as a team has been cross-functional more so than it's been lateral with the SecOps team because they're good at this and they do it all the time. But I think if you broaden it out and have a lot more people in the room, rising tides lifts all boats kind of scenario.
Who's our sponsor this week?
Join Zenity and contribute to the future of agentic security. On May 27th, 2026, the AI Agent Security Summit, hosted by Zenity Labs, returns to San Francisco. Local speakers from leading platforms and industries will provide discussions, panels, and keynotes surrounding the most pertinent findings around agent behavior, access, and risk. In addition, security pioneers will unveil the most effective practices that security professionals can take to scale agents across the enterprise securely. Right now, today. Now, this event is vendor neutral, free to join, and community focused. Join to network with brilliant minds across the industry and get ahead of the curve in securing AI agents. I know this is of a concern. So, you know what you want to do? you want to register. Go to zenity.io/CISO series. And let me spell that for you. ZENITY.io/CISO series. You better already know how to spell that. Go to that website and help shape the future of agentic security.
It's time for the audience question speed round.
All right. I have some questions in my hand from audience members, and these are some really good questions. And we actually have a good amount of time to get through a few of these questions. So they have not seen these questions at all. It's making new, but here is the first one. And someone overheard this on the All In podcast just 2 days ago from Jensen Huang, who's the CEO of NVIDIA. And this is his quote. And essentially, I'm going to tell you what the question is right now. I want to know your thoughts on this quote, okay? Either one of you can jump in. And this is what Jensen Huang says. If that $500,000 engineer, that's how much he's paying for engineers, if that $500,000 engineer did not use at least 250,000 in AI code tokens, I'm going to be deeply alarmed, end quote. Your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, I mean, this is coming from the CEO of the company who makes hardware that burns tokens.
Yeah, so he wants everyone to be spending that kind of money.
Do we have a conflict of interest?
Financial interest on that, yes. So that is pretty aggressive thinking. And if everyone spent that kind of money, their stock would go up a lot more, yes?
Yeah, they'd be, the first $10 trillion company? No. I think, if you look at the gist of it, it really is engineers really should be leaning into augmenting themselves, getting more done with AI. And I think that really genuinely is true. That is where we're at today, that you can be that much more effective by partnering with AI rather than assuming that it's just going to do all the work for you or just that somebody else is going to do the work. So the gist of it, I agree with. I think at the same time, the amount of money raises my eyebrows.
A little bit. And by the way, I forgot to give the appropriate credit. This was from Rishi Joshi of Elementrix who gave this question. Anything to add to this, Sarah?
I mean, we're thinking about how to measure effectiveness of AI and how much our engineers are using AI, and we're looking at what metrics make sense. And it can't be like a conflict of interest in a kind of scenario. So you have to look at the goals for AI that you have as a business and what those outputs are, and then measure it that way. If it's engagement with the particular IDE tool that you're using in engineering and you want to make sure people are using tokens, sure. But obviously it has to just be proportionate to what you want to do for your business. But I mean, it's important. There are a lot of engineers that don't want to adopt AI because they think they're going to displace themselves. So what are the kinds of AI use cases do you have going on in your environment that you can incentivize engineers to do and then roll with that?
By the way, I hate to break it to you. I just realized all these questions have to do with AI. So get ready for more. I know, shocking. All right. So this comes from Colin Dupre of Run Zero. So agentic AI was introduced last year in a significant way. It's still the big story this year. What do you believe has changed significantly with agentic AI from last year to this year?
Adoption, speed, accuracy, reinforcement learning models are getting better.
What I'd say is you've seen more the concept of agents controlling other agents. Like it used to be, this is an agent that it's standalone, it can do many things. I think what we've seen is smaller but more agents along with some sort of master control agent on top of that. And that's what I think we'll continue to see more of.
All right. This comes from Jordan Kama Murado. Again, another AI question. And, there was a little bit of scare in the market with Claude's announcement with security. So Jordan's question is, do you see yourself phasing vendors out because of AI? You're smiling, Sarah. What?
I mean, every time we renew a software license, we ask ourselves, can we replace this with AI? And I already made that call in a vendor a couple of weeks ago. So it's evolving fast. So yes, for sure.
Yeah, and we've already done it. And we will continue to do it.
You did phase someone out already?
Absolutely. And I think that is the world that we're in today, where a vendor needs to set themselves apart from a generic LLM, because if a generic LLM can replace them, they're not differentiated. And if they're not differentiated, we can just do it ourselves.
All right, good point. And I know you've been very engineer focused.
Absolutely.
With your. All right, so I have two questions that are very similar, and I'm going to go to you first, Mike, because this has to do with a post you put out that got a lot of response. So,
Okay.
From Peter, let me get through both of these. Peter Zweers of Murado, who wants to know from your AI post, because you can sort of summarize a little bit more, but you put out a post saying, give your team some tokens and let them have at it to try to fix their own problems. And also from Caleb Onifray, Paradigm, what's the most realistic output for Claude Code? So I'm interested to know, what have you seen that's pretty cool that either your team or somebody else has done? And I want to also talk to you, Sarah, on that.
So part of the inspiration for that post was where a TPM on my team came to me and said, can I have a cursor license? This is someone who has never written a line of code in their life. And that really stopped to have me think of, we can really empower the whole team. Everybody can augment themselves regardless of their role, regardless of how technical it might be. Engineers, it's a more obvious use case, but where you've got folks who aren't used to writing code, who are adopting, I'm going to go build a thing to make my life easier. That's really where we are today. And the Claude Code example is a good one, where you can go from idea to solution to your problem in a scalable way very quickly. Whereas in the past, you used to have to go talk to vendors or try and get time from an engineering team. So it's very empowering is what I'm seeing.
And the coolest thing you've seen?
I mean, I have my compliance team writing AI little bots and automating responses to audits and customers and displacing vendor solutions we have with that. And so it's not just the engineers that are using AI now. I think it's just the broader creativity that I'm seeing across all of the different roles we have to figure out different things to automate and then figure out what else are we going to do with our time. That's the fun part about where we're at now. It's everybody's playing with it. It's not just the traditional engineers.
That brings us to the very end of the show. Let's hear it for our two guests. Mike Johnson, CISO of Rivian, and Sarah Madden, CISO of Convera. Let's also hear it from B-Side San Francisco. And most importantly, let's hear it for our sponsors, Nudge Security. Remember, go to nudgesecurity.com/shadow.ai, Quiller AI. Go to quiller.ai and also zenity.io/CISO series to go to their event. We love coming to this. We are thrilled that you came to see us do our show. Thank you very much to our guests. Thank you very much to our sponsors. And thank you to B-Sides. We really, really appreciate you contributing and listening to the CISO Series podcast.
That wraps up another episode. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do. We have lots more shows on our website, CISOseries.com. Please join us on Fridays for our live shows, Super Cyber Friday, our virtual meetup, and Cybersecurity Headlines Week in Review. This show thrives on your input. Go to the Participate menu on our site for plenty of ways to get involved, including recording a question or a comment for the show. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, contact David Spark directly at david@cisoseries.com. Thank you for listening to the CISO Series podcast.